Hi, good night. Good night, Belize. All right, our campaign platform. The citizens of Belize City deserve better, and everywhere we go, we hear people saying they want better.
Yes, that's true.
You know, they need better, yes, they need better streets all over the city. Apart from the 15% of the streets that are already paved, that's perfectly fine, but that's 15%. We need to go a lot more.
We need to reach at least 99%.
That's the ideal.
Yeah.
So the citizens of Belize City deserve safe neighborhoods. Every one of us. Forget north and south side. The whole city needs to be safe.
Yes.
So we want that for the whole city. All right. We also want to ensure that the young and innocent aren't hunted and shot down on the streets like wild animals. Come on. Nobody deserves that.
Yeah, all of us is one.
Nobody deserves that, man. And nobody wants to see their family laying out on the street. You know, and nobody wants to turn on the news and see their family member in a state like that. Nobody deserves to go out like that. So it's been too common now in Belize, and I'm afraid that we're at the point where people are now becoming callous to it, you know? That it's so prevalent that it's like a norm.
It's
you
like
turn on the news and okay, let's see who died today, you know?
You're not dead, don't worry about it.
Yeah, no, we can't live like that.
Don't make us stand to that.
So the citizens of the city need better drainage, because it's nice to have a street, but what happens if there's proper drainage? Without proper drainage, the water has nowhere to go.
Yeah.
In fact, it made it worse. It made it worse. If you have nice cemented streets and no drainage, the matter is worse because cement doesn't soak up the water as easily as, you know, the regular streets. Okay, so we don't want the kids to be missing school because of the streets and their classrooms and, you know, the schoolyard. How many schoolyards you know get flooded?
Yeah, most.
All right, exactly. So many of our schools can't function when we have a heavy downpour because of poor drainage. So those are the issues that we definitely want to address as City Council. The Belize Progressive Party will provide additional parks and playgrounds for our children. There are many children that have nowhere to play.
That's true.
And I remember growing up, I grew up on Vernon Street, right near the cemetery. And we had no park. Our park was the cemetery itself. We played in the cemetery.
Jump fan.
Grave to
grave to grave.
Play football. But hey, I mean, as young kids, you never thought about it. You just found an empty space to play. And what happened eventually? You ran out of space.
Yeah.
The cemetery got full. And so there was no place for us to play. And so all our kids, every single child in Belize deserves a safe place for them to play. So we will also rid the city of festering and disease-ridden dump sites in residential neighborhoods.
That's what they refer to as hot spots.
Yeah.
Yes.
We need to get rid of this stuff.
I'll be straight up. There is a rodent problem in this city. I walk around sometimes at night and
you will see the rats, the feces.
Man,
yeah.
We have a huge problem when it comes to rodents in the city.
Yeah,
and we need to address that issue.
We have a lot of we'll call pests in the city.
Yes.
And it's like nobody is seeing it, but
Yeah,
it's affecting
exactly.
a lot of homes.
Exactly.
Especially with a lot of disease.
Yeah.
Because they back a lot of disease, especially the kind of rats.
Yeah.
You know, we can't in it.
Exactly.
But the type of people who know to take care of the public yards, especially yards where nobody know how care for because they actually live in abroad and different places.
Yeah.
We could still mend these lots.
Definitely.
You don't need to leave these lots like your one clean, that one clean, and the rest look like.
Exactly.
We could do things with that.
Yep.
Make use of a lot of stuff. We have resource, but people not looking on the resource.
That's right.
They are looking on the benefit of them.
So the Belize Progressive Party pledges to declare a war on poverty and unemployment, and to improve the appearance and cleanliness and upkeep of our city. I hear it over and over. People say, yes, I've been to Belize, but I've never been to Belize City. Tourists especially. In fact, a lot of them are told, Yes, Belize is beautiful, lovely place, but don't go to Belize City.
Yeah, Rabble.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, pop on a chain. Make sure to put on a chain inside instead of outside. So that's why they take them only to the best of the best.
Yeah.
Only our ruins and Maya places.
They go to San Pedro, they go to other places. But there is a lot that we could benefit in Belize City if we put the proper infrastructure in place, if we put the proper infrastructure in terms of businesses for local people. You know, I see people on the street doing coconut now.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I see the buses stop and buy coconut from these people. There's a lot that we can do, but we just need to come together, brainstorm, and make everybody benefit from these things that we want to do for Belize City.
Like I'm stating too, what I get to see every day, we have a lot of small business people, but we're not going about races. But the point is, the small business people don't have no kind of assistance. Don't care when they strive to get one kind of loophole for say that I need this amount of finance to keep on going with my dream, that I could support my family. They don't have no loophole, they don't have no way to get in and say, well, I could go at this bank or this credit union or this place to try to build my self-esteem and get out there and say that I don't need PUP and UDP to give me money to feed my family. I could feed my family with the brains that I have, with the talent that I know. You understand? But by having a dumb fall and can't get up, you always will depend on a different type of party for money assistance, when you could actually say in the old days, they said don't give the man food to eat. Show the man how to get the food to eat. You understand? So you don't get no fish, just show him how to make it. Just show him how to gain it. So you get it out there, and you don't have to look back and say, oh, I hope Mr. Perry something, or I hope Mr. Parker something. You know, or Mr. Molina need to get he talking because he gave me this. We don't want to obligate on us. We want you to work with us.
Correct.
You understand? We don't want an obligation with us. So when you see me, you see a human being. When I see you, I see a human being. We're not saying, oh, she have to do what I said because I make sure I pay her bills and her water bill, light bill, the cable bill, the phone bill, you pay rent. They're like, you have an extra kid on your hand. You understand? That's how I see it. If you get people in the system state that you take them to be your kid, because for everything they go to your office for, you're the pay. So when you are showing that you could get a job and be employed for years and could step into any next place and actually show a job letter where could state that I am so successful to get anything from any next place that I want without my name, as in saying, oh, Mr. Perry sent me to get this because I gave him a check. When you could put your own name and be proud of saying that I have a job and I could look on a paycheck for every week, 15, ending, whatever. You understand?
And that brings us exactly to the pledge.
Correct.
To improve the quality of life and the experience of every resident, worker and visitor to the commercial capital of our beautiful country with your vote come March 7, 2018.
Precisely. So thank you very much, Javier, for sharing with us the campaign platform. I'd like now for Mr. Perry to speak very briefly on the vision. What is our vision?
Well, Javier don't touch certain points about the vision of Belize that the BPP want for Belize City and for the closer part of the city. But the vision that we want to speak on is like broken roads. You could mend the roads, you could get better jobs, you could just make sure that our mayor be Parker Smith, and he will show you the vision that he have in store. He is a powerful man. He is someone that you could say have the degrees and have the success that he could lift himself up from the ground to the top and do better for Belize any day, anytime. You put him right there 100% with us, the four behind him, the councillors behind Mr. Parker. You will see that the vision that we have will work for you guys, the city of Belize.
Well, man, I really appreciate that. After a nice introduction like that, man, I know we ever see one black man blush.
Well, I said the first time, yeah, you keep
Well, definitely, I really appreciate that. And one of the things I want to underscore is that this is a team effort. This is
yes,
these brothers beside me and our other two colleagues. I know that once you give us the opportunity to show what we can do, all we need is the opportunity and we can show you what our worth is. Well, that is our vision. And what I'd like to talk to you a little bit very quickly about involves our values. Our values, I mentioned earlier, involves honesty, integrity, and dedication. And our commitment as your Belize City Council would be to ensure that good governance practices and principles are instituted. And that's based on the principles of inclusion, participation, consensus, transparency, accountability, and equity. Now, when we say these things, what we are basically saying is that it's not going to be business as usual in City Hall, the way things have been. You see, the BPP is about changing the system. For many years, years on top of years on top of years, things have been done in a certain way, and it's not working.
Yeah,
It's not
it
working.
totally not work. It's like you're saying do, but we're not do. That's how I see it, because people are really saying that I look out to get the assistance and I look out to see the better street and the better dream. But by the end of the day, not come 3 weeks or 4 months for no one and walk cut front of the yard. I have a personal deal with the yard to time, and I do yard grooming for now about 11. And if you going to cut any kind of grass, you can't cut it after 4 months. You strain the machine alone, you charge yourself more money than anything else. You need to have a factor behind it that you know that every 3 weeks or to a month, you'll get certain part of the neighborhood and certain part of the areas cleaned up. And if you want, you could use your own brothers, whether you have to sit down on the corner, make them make for actual weekly pay instead of after the word about criminal action. They will actually got papers and the machine is do a job. You understand? The work towards doing something instead of after just to sit down and say, well, you may have $2 towards the weed or the cigarette. No, they will actually know that every Friday they have one money to collect, a check. And with a check and balance, you could say, down the road, they will say after about 6 months, then they got a job. We're not getting a 3 months job. We're not getting a 2 weeks job. We want to give them a job for the length of time that they need a job. Only if we're not in power, they still have a job. You understand? You know, be a crony thing. How would I crony thing that when I did, I got a job. And when I know they I suffer. Exactly. You're not supposed to work like this. People not supposed to suffer none at all.
And that ties into exactly what we say, is that it's not going to be business as usual.
Yes.
We are going to change the way things are done. And Mr. Perry was talking a little bit about some of the things that will be characteristic of a BPP administration in City Hall. And what we'd like to stress to you is that a BPP administration in City Hall shall be proactive, innovative, responsive in our approaches to delivering based on sensible results. And that's what it's about.
Yes.
It's about being effective and efficient. Yes, things are rolling in the city in terms of, the services are there, but there's always room for improvement. And that's what the BPP is about. It's improving the effectiveness and efficiency of service provision and also the way we go about doing things. So, we have some program areas which characterize our progressive development agenda, and we'd like to go through it with you. I'll begin with the first one. Well, actually what I'll do is I will list them, and then we'll go in depth.
Go in depth.
The first issue, joblessness. Okay, bear that in mind. The second issue that we'll talk about involves broken streets and broken dreams. The third, crime and violence, which is very, very serious. We have to talk a lot about that. The fourth, the fact that the city is untidy and dilapidated.
Yeah.
The fifth, low and declining literacy rates. The sixth, deplorable housing conditions for the poor and working class. The 7, hunger and destitution among school children. The 8, lack of green spaces and open areas in the city. So, let me begin. I'll start with the first one.
Right ahead.
Joblessness. That is a problem in Belize City.
Big, big problem.
As you know, Belize City is the commercial capital of this nation.
Yes.
Apart from the fact that the buildings in Belmopan house the seats of proverbial power,
Yeah.
this is where it's at, economically, in relation to Belize. And joblessness for our residents is a serious problem.
Big issue.
Our goal under that heading is to create more jobs. I believe that Mr. Perry touched on it in the sense that it's not to create temporary jobs. We want to give the residents of Belize City manageable, tangible work that is ongoing.
Yeah.
And one of the ways we can achieve that is through encouraging entrepreneurship. Now, our pledge. You see, here at the BPP, we don't make promises like
Yeah, we're not promises. We come forward to a fool. Come forward to a fool. Promises.
we don't jump on that.
We don't into propaganda like that. We want to tell her like it is, and we want you guys to look forward to see what we want to do.
So our pledge, our first pledge under the heading of the goal to create more jobs is to provide jobs for unemployed youths around the city before the streets claim them. And this ties into one of our other areas of crime and violence. So we'll get into that. The second pledge under that heading is to get young mothers in schools and in skills programs in order for them to get into the job market on a lasting basis. They're not temporary thing we do on.
Yeah.
We want
Entrepreneurs.
That's
we
right.
need entrepreneurs. We have, but we don't need. We have, but we don't see the dedication to it because we have no access to give them a further bandwidth. We'll call the concept of education, so that they know that if they go there and make a business-wise decision, they could actually strive and achieve it. You understand? But without that, the concept, some of them come from schools like Standard 4, you know, the principal of pregnancy, where the probability of pregnancy, where they drop in. Some of them actually done 6 form, but they still don't have the brain setting that they could say, I could be an entrepreneur. You know, like they drive and they account for whatever they do. They don't have it yet, but if you actually have lessons that you teach me about things like management, savings, and you know, a business plan, a business setting, you could actually get me to a PR person.
That's right.
That I could look back on myself and I could say, if I never say that, Mr. Parker with all these settings, you know, carry me like, I got a set for 2 years. I take plumbing. And up to today, I could tell yourself that I didn't even get no job being a plumber. And I have more trade than most of the plumbers that will actually drive the vehicle with their uniform. I could actually do more than them because most of the job that us for real call a chauffeur thing. That our job settings, can you ask them, none of them get no plumbing training. They just get put there.
Okay.
You understand?
All right. Well, moving on to our third pledge under the heading of joblessness and our goal to create more jobs. We're going to stimulate growth in tourism, agriculture, healthcare, and business development so that the thousands of graduates that come out of high school and sixth form and university can get a job and support their family. Very critical.
Big.
Belize City got a lot of picnic. All you have to do is drive around, you know, at lunchtime.
Yes.
Ooh, too much picnic. Hey, we got a lot of kids. We got kids. I tell them.
And each year, they're coming out of high school, they're coming out of sixth form, coming out of university, and to what?
Exactly.
Nothing.
And that has to stop. With a city council that is dedicated towards bringing about creative solutions to the joblessness issue, it can definitely benefit the residents of this city. And we have a final pledge under the heading of joblessness, and that is to improve high school enrollment from the current level of 49% to roughly 80% or even beyond by the end of our first term in office, with sustained improvement and beyond. Now, that's very critical because when you have a lot of children out of school, what is the old saying? The devil finds
The devil finds-
hands,
yeah.
right?
A lot of idle hands is around. A lot of idle things will happen.
And what we need to do is we need to be proactive, we need to be innovative. And when I tell you this is our charge. This is what we are geared towards, and this is what we are committed to. Now that's our situation with regards to joblessness. I'd like now to turn over to Javier, and to talk about the next issue.
Okay, our next issue is broken streets and broken dreams. So again, our goal is to upgrade the streets and associated infrastructure. So yes, that includes drains, not just the streets. Again, the pledge is to pave at least 20% more. So that's 20% on top of the 15 that we said we already have. And more of the unpaved and unconcreted streets every year, until all the streets of Belize City have been paved.
At least again 90.
Exactly. Again, and the second pledge, make sure that all streets going forward are designed and built with drains. So the correct pitch and the correct drains to hold the amount of water and all of that. Come on, I mean, we have the technical know-how. I'm not sure why we're not using it and why we're not doing it properly.
It's just like a fraud, man. It's just a system that they know what they know, but they know how to make the money back. So it's like you say back in the days, something is making to last 10 years from now. Now it's making things only last 3 months.
To make more money, no?
Double shit job about the same thing. Now
Yeah.
the system itself, the people now, they have different jobs. That's what they do. They make the things for long lasting, no.
Yeah.
Shorter lasting,
Yeah.
so they can actually get more people to buy more.
Yeah.
You know, so the more money for me. But no worry about the people who have to buy it.
Yeah.
You know, if they can't afford it, they actually still have it in the store. But they last longer, right? So you have to go up and see it before I afford it. Then it might still not work, right?
So the next pledge is that no child will need to miss school because of flooded streets and flooded schoolyards and classrooms when it rains. And that is a big one. I mean, we did touch on it a little bit earlier. We'll definitely work on having no school call off because it was flooded.
Yeah,
Kids
a
can't
lot
get to
of
school.
half days, a lot of half days and half days.
That's detrimental to our children. They deserve better than that. The rain can't stop education, and that is what we've been allowing so far, and that should not be.
Really, the parents say on the part of our part, if a kid come out between half day, you know, no Belize and have no half day job. So where the kids go
Exactly.
if they go
Exactly.
home? It's like the idle mind.
Yeah.
Kids, you could get idle. No, man, don't have pop, they don't marry me, and know they are called 5. My kid run through the street and reach home, not find a mom, but take off the clothes and reach from the street. And then it way to reach. We live in a country that if you know to take care of a kid to a certain level and they tell you that the kid, they what call neglect, but not a neglect thing. No, actually, the drive that the mom part of work towards feeding them, take care of them every day, but then certain things come in the midst when you don't even expect it. And you can't do better because you have one plan. I'm going from work to home, and my kids will go from home to school, back to work, back to home, right? So that's our plan. But when the rain came, you have to find a strategy behind that plan. Who will take care of that kid when I'm at work?
On that note, I will remind our viewers of the old African proverb that says it takes an entire village to raise
a child. That's true.
And that's one of the big core competencies that we need here in Belize. Now moving on to the next issue, crime and violence. I will take this one because I think it's something that is critical. It's critical. And the reason why I am very, very serious about this is because if you look in the international news, unfortunately, our beloved city is getting a lot of negative.
A lot of negative stuff.
Big black eye there in the community.
Very much so.
No Kiro Power go, they have Belize.
And as a responsible municipal government, I firmly believe that irrespective of the fact that the City and Towns Acts don't call for us to be active in this area. I think it's incumbent upon an administration to face these things head on. So with regards to crime and violence, our goal, number one, is to improve safety and security in the city.
Yes, we need it.
Under that heading, our first pledge, excuse me, create a police force that works with the community and that is answerable to the mayor of the city instead of the minister in Belmopan. Don't tell me it can't be done.
It can be done.
It can be done, because we have a prime example with regards to the tourism police. We have a tourism police force, and I see no reason why, with the correct planning, implementation, and funding, mind you, funding is out there.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of identifying it and making sure that funding goes where it needs to be. You won't have a problem with that with our administration. So that's our first pledge. The second pledge is to create a police force that is worthy of the confidence and support of the people, that will eliminate officers that have gone bad from the force. Now, we know that there is good and bad in everything.
In everything, yes.
There are some outstanding police officers out there.
Yeah.
I know many of them.
Definitely.
And like all things in life, there are unfortunately some bad apples.
Yeah.
Well, with regards to the creating of the municipal police force, definitely we have to ensure that we have individuals who are committed to the job and meet certain criteria. So that is first and foremost with regards to this effort. Our next pledge involves, excuse me, strengthening interaction between the police and community, such as the Police Cadet Corps.
Yes.
I see no reason why the Belize City Council should not be intimately involved with things such as the Police Cadet Corps. Very, very important, because one of the focuses of our administration is that we have to incorporate the youth.
Definitely.
The youth is not only the future, they're our present.
Exactly. Exactly. They're the
Ministers,
Mhm.
they're doctors, leaders coming up from that generation, whether behind us, and if we don't put a point to it that they could see the vision to be these people, they will do it. There won't be a chaos. We don't want a chaos in Belize.
Yeah.
You know, we see crime and violence every day, but then we need to instill that we have a lot of kids that are coming out of Sixth Farm. For instance, they're coming out of Fourth Farm, and the parents ain't have the money to put them at Sixth Farm, and they still strive to give them the money to go to Sixth Farm, to get the better education, to be something successful to Belize. But then, how you can be successful if you actually not get the actual job that you want? You could actually throw back yourself, and they have a lot of people say, I get so much CXC. I got a daughter with 12 CXC at grade 1, and right now I still got an UB. And she looked at me and tell me that it doesn't even want a summer job I could get.
Yeah.
They want a simple summer job
Yeah.
I could get. I said, but, and we understand as parents, we have to work towards getting the better part of our kids. That we don't need them to lean on us, we need them to strive for themselves. You know, this is not a thing that you bring a kid in the world and you have to raise until you reach 80. No man, you're supposed to show your kid the way so that when you, excuse me.
Yeah, okay, well, moving on. Our next pledge involves our intent, our desire to rid the city of drug running and criminal gangs by providing an alternative to young people, such as training, apprenticeships, programs, and job placement. And that all ties into the whole concept where we talked about entrepreneurship as well. Very important that we get the youth actively involved and let them know that there is worth to life, and you need not go down that negative path.
Yeah.
It's all about creating opportunities. And our final pledge with regards to crime and violence involves, making the streets safe again so that our youth from, for example, Yabra or Majestic Alley can freely visit their family, whether it be on Mayflower Street or anywhere else, in any other non-gang areas, maybe even back at Bungalung, by promoting community building programs such as football competitions, track and field competitions, sporting activities.
Yeah.
Get the youth involved in the sports and things of that nature, because it will show them where they can go to do positive and productive things.
Okay, an untidy and dilapidated city. Again, we touched on this a little bit earlier. But our goal is to clean up and beautify the city. We have a lot of dilapidated and derelict houses, all over the city. And it's definitely something we need to take a look at. It's definitely something that, as a city council, falls within our purview, falls within the things that we're supposed to be doing as a city council. So, our pledge is to repair, maintain, and upkeep all public buildings, such as the courthouse, the office complex on Mahogany Street, the old government house, and man, definitely, I see work started already on the building out downtown, but man, that thing has been a sore eye downtown Belize. And you're walking over that swing bridge and looking up at that building, you think, my gosh, look how wasted right there.
Yeah. I'll tell you something. They don't set the tone because that's going to be the new city hall. So
that's what I heard.
Yeah. But
there we went.
So you need to make sure that it's a structure now. Half a steel to each room. Because you know things that you don't want that. You want to walk back room concrete 3 feet or more. You don't want to walk past 2 feet and straight through the floor.
We have to understand that those things set the tone.
Yeah.
When you have a city that looks dilapidated, when you have streets that are full of garbage, when you have just people on the street with nowhere to sleep, I mean, it sets a whole tone. There's an undertone towards the whole city, and it will affect you. I mean, subconsciously you'll be walking down and you won't feel right.
It's actually affecting us because it's so bad that you come out your house early in the morning to go to work, and then you get to find out that, or a stranger, you have feelings to everybody. Because we have a conscious heart, that we know that human beings not supposed to get chance. But if you watch these people that they have sense of the home zone, but I don't know like the capability why they sleep on the streets. But they have people where you call idle people, they harm the people.
Yeah.
You know watch a man who don't reach about 60 and his face bust open and you ask man like, you could please buy me a bread or something. I'm gonna look at the man tell her, last night I'm in the sleep corner of the street and somebody just kicked me in the face.
Yeah.
You were like, who the watch just from guitar from a bike people kick my man if you look down the sleep on the ground.
Absolutely nothing.
You don't even do nothing when you want to kick from.
Yeah,
when you want to get a pint bottle when you drink because you don't get high. You got money for go buy the liquor. But he went not got no money to buy bread, you go bust your face.
We need more love in the city, man.
Yeah, man, we need to show love to people, and especially the elders. It's like the creation of elders don't exist. Is everybody is one. You know the guy in Panzer that we have to respect the elders.
Yeah, exactly.
You hear elders talk, you shut up, you listen, and if you have something to say, then you ask them like, yeah, I could please say what I have to say because maybe something when you say is wrong, but then you can't ask them that right, so you have to listen first.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen no more. You didn't look back for elders. That was it. They lapidate there. You're bringing the house and killing.
You what? Man, talk about that had to deal with. Man, that thing. I mean, it's not in the city, but still, crime alone, crime and violence, it affects everybody.
It's right on the corner of this Party Street, right by the place up the street. They went in there and nearly killed the older guy. Was so about 3 guy in that house.
Right.
Stop the man, elder person. You understand me?
So, on to the next point, the pledging to eliminate long-established dump sites. That again, that brings us right back to the city and how garbage is everywhere. So we need to get rid of all the dump sites, as well as more recent hotspots.
Yeah.
And also for the accumulation of garbage, especially in the commercial district. And man, I go to the market sometimes and there's a huge problem with specifically that type of garbage. That thing needs to be cleaned like every day or right after market day.
Stench the rule from that.
You go to the bus terminal sometimes to catch a bus and so that needs to be taken care of. That should not be happening. There's no reason why we can't get rid of the garbage, to a timely manner.
Yeah, we have to deal with SAP, we have to deal it now.
Our next pledge is to engender culture of civic pride.
Absolutely.
Now let me break that down for you, because we hear this word all the time, civic pride. Paco, what does civic pride mean?
For me, civic pride means knowing and loving my environment, knowing the worth of my environment, and knowing that I can contribute positively to the environment to make it better.
Yeah.
Right? Having a working knowledge of the history, the culture, and the potential that lies within our municipality.
Yeah.
Loving the environment, loving the people, and doing what you can to move forward to make it even better.
Yes.
I can't tell you how many times I've seen people, and it hurts because grown people, not just little kids.
Mhm.
Little kids, yes, I'll say it's bad upbringing.
Mhm.
They didn't teach them at home that they're supposed to keep the surrounding thing, they eat the sweet, the chips, the ID,
Gotcha.
whatever, right away.
Mhm.
You know,
Gotcha.
I mean, I remember this one time, a bus was passing, a gentleman was walking, somebody threw a pint bottle, a pint bottle through this bus and right into this guy's
It
face.
must have fears, and nobody knows.
A terrible man.
So we need to work on the citizens of the city because they need and it's from top to bottom, they need a huge education campaign that we plan to do on civic pride.
Precisely.
But we got a bigger concept behind it because we are planning to be people who we want the city to be better and cleaner and more functional with the air, the pollution, what happen every day. You know, that the sun actually get rated, that it get over hot. You understand? So other people just drop down by their own sun and different stuff. But if you go to a different country, we the talk about dirt, yeah. We the talk about not going on a car and use whatever. And if you use everybody know that way to use when a man running on a car. But the stench of everything where you get to smell from certain places, it really not helpful for me. But if you run to a different country, everything where we are, you will say the people never do that. I tell you, I see man in a bus like called sardine, a man want go, and nobody want to move in. This is not you talk about Spanish, you talk about Spanish talking country, you can't even say nothing in Spanish, and you still have to part of bathroom.
Exactly.
You still want to work about bathroom, and you want to part of dirt. What would dash this?
Yeah,
but when you can't do that tongue, when you can't do that Belize, your own country, you can't, you can't reach for you, but
it
you want to
shows
use
that
somewhere
they
else.
know what they're supposed to do.
So they instill,
They know
it there, but
that
they
they're
just
not
want to use it at their own home.
Again, that is why we're going to push a huge drive on civic pride in schools, in the media, wherever we need to push it, billboards, whatever. A huge push, a drive for better civic pride in Belize City among our citizenry. And also to stem the awareness, the impulse of summarily discharging garbage on the streets through public awareness programs, including in schools. So all of that will encompass getting rid of the garbage that's on the street. Because look, if the people don't have to be picking up the garbage, we can find other things for them to do around the city.
Yeah.
If there's less garbage on the street, and I can't believe somebody told me this once, if I don't throw the garbage on the street, the people that got jobs.
That's a bad phrase to say.
Man, I hear that
Yeah,
all the time.
if I don't throw my garbage out on the street side, the people want to clean the street
I
side.
can tell you this, if they never had the garbage, then I got more time to chop the grass,
Yeah.
for paint up the sidewalk, for paint the pedestrian crossing.
Clean
There's
the street.
so much, thank you. There's so many other things that they could be using their time on rather than having to pick up the garbage. So I hope I never have to hear that again.
It's so rare that
I do it too.
we live in Belize. I could say I live in Belize for 31 years, and it's so rare that the actual street where you stand upon, if you don't actually come from a Bronx neighborhood, you didn't know the street name. We can't. It's so ridiculous. You got a man who have to bring more food for you to every place, and you give out an address, and the man don't know the address, and the neighborhood don't know the address. You live side of me, and I don't know you, and you don't know me. But if you have the implementation that you have the street name of the pineapple, every corner you turn and say back, Violet Lane, Tudor Street, Rose Lane, Rose Street, Mahogany Street, you see the name so you will know, alright, if I don't went 5 steps that way to find the house, I know I'm going 3 steps back that way to find the house. But if I don't know the street, I'll fly around like crazy man. So the whole, what the street are in? But that street I think in here so also, you would think, you know what long and take me to find my house if you would think.
That's right.
Now I understand.
All right, our next next pledge is, we know time is running out on us.
Yeah.
So our next pledge is to identify and restore historical landmark buildings around the city, especially those in the hands of private citizens and private businesses. I mean, I see some streets that you line up, and if you were to take away the lamppost and everything, you would think you were back in, I don't know, 1960 something, 50 something. So we need to take care of those streets and those buildings because they are historic. And I've seen, and this one that I really admired is now a parking lot. Literally
broke it down.
And turned it into a parking lot. So that is one of the things that we're going to do.
No morals behind the stuff then we call agents. Things that we could look back and say, oh, this was so and so. I hear my older people tell me about the majestic this and this, that we watch movies and me I don't even know about that place. Because what thing, the bigger heads than corners tear down the place. You understand? And then you got like some people say, if you're looking at the actual archives to see where I was existing and so much in the 19th, so on, in the 18th, you don't know nothing. Because everything that they could show, what is on the last for so and so, that existed.
Okay, well, we have several more we need to get through. I don't want to rush to it, but we have to get through. Now, our next issue deals with low and declining literacy rates. Our goal under that heading is to improve and expand education and training. Fundamental. Fundamental. Some people may argue that the City Council no business for getting involved in that, but we at the BPP feel differently. As a municipal body, we have a responsibility to ensure that we are impacting the lives of our residents positively. Now, the pledge underneath that heading is to enhance and improve continuing adult education programs such as those at Wesley College and St. John's College. Where we can, we shall make positive inroads. A second pledge, make high school truly free of cost to parents so that more children can go on to higher education and stay in school by coordinating with central government and church school management. This is about the we. No, that nothing to do with me, myself, and I.
It's all about we.
This is about the we, and this is the mentality that the BPP will take to City Hall. Working, inclusion, the basic principles of good governance practices. Also, our pledge underneath that is work with the school management, the unions, and the Ministry of Education to make sure that test scores in math and English improve and are on par with the Caribbean. Don't tell me we can't do it.
That's nice. We could do it.
We could do that. I teach as an adjunct lecturer at the University of Belize in the Public Sector Management Program. And one of the things that I always tell my students is this. In terms of policy, if the political will is not there, it's very unlikely that it will come to fruition. For us, with the BPP, we're coming with the positive, progressive mentality, the political will to get these things done. And trust you me, with brothers like you on my side, working and leading with me, we can get these things done. But we just need the opportunity. Okay, moving on.
This is again another big issue: deplorable housing conditions for the poor and working classes. And again, our goal here is to improve decent housing for the poor. Decent housing. And here I'll pick up an organization that has been doing a phenomenal job. A phenomenal job in this area.
Wow. This is really
over 350 houses built.
And they were not a government sector.
Exactly.
It's just
that's to show you it can be done.
Yes, it's good.
And so we're here to say that we're going to work with these organizations and people that are working in that area to get it done. Under that, our pledge is to work with volunteer organizations and churches and kind-hearted citizens to construct decent housing for the poor, especially on the south side. Our pledge is also to negotiate with the banks and credit unions, DFC, and other lending institutions to lower interest rates to make housing more affordable for the young and first-time homeowners. Another pledge to reform the laws to ensure that the landlords provide decent houses and apartments for rent at affordable cost to the poor and working class citizenry within Belize. Our last pledge on that area is to relieve cramped housing conditions by increasing the lot sizes and passing legislation to ensure that lots are not crowded with more than one dwelling and that buildings do not cover more than 70% of the lots.
Very, very key,
Inputs.
Okay, moving on to the next issue, hunger and destitution among school children. Our goal under that is to reduce and eliminate hunger for high school and primary school children. Bottom line.
We need feeding programs in the schools. And we need feeding programs where we get funding.
So let's finish this up and then we'll play a video right after that.
Okay. Yes, our pledge, children cannot continue to go to school hungry. Initiatives such as the Boost program needs to be expanded to reach more needy people.
Yes,
definitely.
it's needed.
One of the hallmarks of this BPP administration will be the increase in efficiency and effectiveness.
Exactly.
There are programs out there that are running right now, but maybe they're not being as efficient as possible.
Yeah.
That's where we're saying we need to improve upon those things.
Exactly.
Our next pledge, forge partnerships between the business community, churches, and donor organizations to contribute to feeding programs in the schools.
We need this. We need this.
Yeah.
Papa, I got a touch where I could touch pan and I say, right, working at Princess and, hotel individually, you have a concept that we're going there to make the tourists feel good and everybody feel good. But why the poor class of Belize still cannot feel good? Kids like the same people that I stay. We have people on the street of Belize where they even go, at least a slice of bread for eat.
Wow.
But then if you look in at the actual vicinity of hotels, they are throwing out the food in the garbage.
Yeah.
We tell you about fresh food, about 4, 5, 6 dozen eggs. They throw it in our garbage. If you go in our buffet between 6 and 7, and nobody eat none fat, everything get dashed away. They don't put that in. They don't rewarm nothing. It dash it straight to the garbage. We could get these stuff and put it into schools for the day and feed poor kids and make them become potential leaders, because by the end of the day they have something on their stomach, so they will learn. Because without a kid learn anything, simple high school kids don't have nothing to feed and they stand up to a gate every day. And when they find out, they look upon themselves and say, well, my mom and papa go right now. When they find out, you know their mom and papa not home. So they'll make efforts and call to make the mom and papa come towards the kids, but the mom and papa still strive to try to care, so they move for the evening. They can't care nothing for the morning and the afternoon, but they try at least make sure that something get for the evening, for when the kid go home, if they eat something home. You understand? So like I said, the concept for it that the people need to realize that they're not only about them, they're all about we, everybody is. Because if you go with governments abroad everywhere, everybody just they just want to be them. You know, they're not even worried about the next lower person. They're not even worried if you know why you're worried about if I pay bills, but at least remind yourself that if I have a job, I can feed whatever I bring in this world and this earth. You know, the official part of kids, you know, it's so bad that a mama can't feed their own family.
Well, it ties all into being inclusive as opposed to exclusive.
Yeah.
And BPP is all about being inclusive, man. Our final pledge underneath this is strengthen skills training for at-home mothers and young unemployed and underemployed fathers, such that they may enter the job market. Again, and hopefully you all will see that all of these things are interrelated. You know, they're interconnected. It's not going to be done in isolation.
Lack of green spaces and open areas. So our goal here is to create and recover green areas and open spaces around the city, not just in a few spots around the city. Our pledge is to recover and upgrade dilapidated parks and playgrounds around the city, such as Dolphin Park, which I saw recently. Man, that thing looks in a really deplorable shape, man, in West Landy Park. And the Government House Park near the former governor's house. Again, that's another one that has been completely neglected.
Now BTL park, they call that.
The Government House?
Yes.
So we'll bring that up, and we'll create new spaces where needed, because a city is expanding and expanding, but I don't think it's being done in in a proper manner. I mean, I don't think we even have zoning laws in Belize City. I don't think we have the laws that deal with how many houses can go in an area and then how many parks into that area. So again, these are all things that we can touch on and we will work on as a city council. And the next pledge is maintain and recover wetlands around the city, such as the Crewman's Lagoon, and retain mangroves, especially along the rivers and in low-lying areas, such as along the Lama Phase 3 and Phase 4. Now, that, I mean, you don't have to be an environmentalist to understand that mangroves is important, and we need to keep the mangroves. So yes, we want to expand the city, and we know everybody needs a piece of land, but we need to be smart about it.
Yeah.
We need to look around, look at the landscape, find out where we can and can't build, and where we need to keep the mangroves. The last time there was a tsunami scare.
Wow.
That's right.
What will happen when we have no mangroves to help us if there were to have be a tsunami?
No tree at all.
Yeah.
Right? We don't have no tree at all.
Exactly. So we're going to build, but we're going to do sustainable building and smart expansion of Belize City.
Very true, and that comes in with the whole concept of making Belize City a climate resilient municipality.
Exactly.
The final area we want to deal with involves something that is very near and dear to our hearts. Although by definition I have exited that area by a couple of years, I still feel young, right?
Young and hot.
And I don't know how old I am, right? I still feel like my youth, right?
Yeah.
And this involves a special youth initiative and outreach. And our vision involves creating a youth advisory council to the office of the mayor. Because we take very seriously the notion that the youth are not only our future, but also our present. We need to get the youth involved in issues of governance and all of the things that fall under that heading. Now, this concept involves comprising a council that has representatives from the various Belize City-based youth organizations, so that we can get input and feedback from those who are on the front line, those who are experiencing living life in Belize City as a young individual. Now, this would serve as a conduit through which to obtain firsthand input from Belize City youths as to what issues, concerns, and the like are important to them. This in turn shall inform us on how best to incorporate the youth perspective into our development agenda. Very, very critical, very important, and from us to you, we mean business when we say this. This is not just lip service.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If we were into the lip service and the low and talk, we'd have gone that other
Yeah.
route.
We'll offer ourselves another place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At the BPP, we're very serious about what we're putting forward. That's why we don't make promises. We're
Right.
making pledges, and
Exactly.
these pledges are based on our conviction and our commitment. So with that, that is an overview of our developmental agenda. And if I'm correct, I think we will be going to commercial.
We're going to commercial for.
Yes.
Well,
So enjoy this video, please.
Okay, yes. While we're preparing for the commercial, let me just
Yeah.
recap the main points in terms of our program areas. We've come across the areas that we find shall be the focus of our administration at the Belize City Council.
Yeah.
It includes the issue of joblessness, broken streets and broken dreams, crime and violence, very important, the untidy and dilapidated state of the city, also low and declining literacy rates, the deplorable housing conditions for the poor and working class, also hunger and destitution among our school children, and the lack of green spaces and open areas in the city. Finally, we want to take head on and address the issues that are relevant to our youth. So that, as an overview, correspond with our 5 names. That's pretty much it. And I'm inviting and imploring and begging for Belizeans all throughout the city to come out and exercise your franchise. Vote, especially those of you who have chosen not to vote in the past. We know there's a reason why you haven't voted, but now the BPP is on the scene, and we are here to serve you, the people, the residents of Belize City. With that, I thank you.
Belize, let's vote for the BPP.